Hello and welcome back to MACH 2024. We've got a fantastically packed show for you today. We're here on the AMRC stand, and that's the Advanced Manufacturing Research Center. Ben, thank you so much for allowing us to come onto your stand and cover the amazing projects you've got here.
Our pleasure.
What is the AMRC?
So AMRC is part of the High Value Manufacturing Catapult. It's a translational research centre here to make UK manufacturing more competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. And you've got a very clear project here, very clear concept you're trying to show at the stand this year at MACH.
We have.
What is it? What is the concept?
So this year we're untangling the digital thread. We've got the UAV here behind us, and we're really using this as a showcase, as a wrapper, as a complex product to showcase the life cycle from concept and requirements, design stage, through to end of life, right through that manufacturing stage in the centre to the end of life.
I love how you're trying to ground this quite complex and misunderstood concept with a real life project for industry to look at. What are the complexities of designing a UAV, first of all, I guess, that you might solve traditionally?
So there's lots of systems, there's lots of different teams working on this. Traditionally, those teams are talking to one another, they're having meetings, there's emails flying around, and the digital thread is allowing those teams to concurrently work on the system together, allowing it to come to market quicker, greater efficiencies, greater communication. It's data-driven insight.
Yeah, you can imagine there's the aerodynamic CFD team, there's people handling the control systems in the engines, there's loads of different things that have to be programmed, designed, manufactured to make this thing work.
Absolutely that, yeah. So many complex systems, and especially where manufacturing is and where aerospace is at the moment, with electrified flight, possible hydrogen systems, lots of complex new product development that we're trying to integrate into these complex systems, and it's a highly regulated market, of course, as well.
Absolutely, as well. If people are going to be flying on these things, it wants to be.
Absolutely right, yeah.
Brilliant. And what I love also is the fact that I guess you want these teams to be working in parallel, not just in like a waterfall method where someone completes the outer shell of the UAV and then the engines get completed afterwards. You want these people working kind of to reduce lead times.
Yeah, that's a key thing as well. So particularly with net zero, we're wanting to get products to market quicker. We're in a globally competitive market. Time to market is absolutely key. So if we can compress those design stages, those simulation stages, get the feedback from new product back into the system, that's all good particularly for UK manufacturing.
Absolutely. We're going to be talking to Rob Poyner in a little bit, who's the head of aerospace for Siemens here in the UK, because you guys have collaborated with Siemens, and the research centre is always about industrial collaboration as well, so we're going to be discussing that a little bit later. But let's kind of ground this even more with, You've got a wonderful demo here of what are you showing?
So we're showing a subsection of the aircraft. We've got a wing and we've got a motor on a gimbal there. And what we're showing really is some of the simulation work, some of the concept work linked up with the physical space. So you've got the virtual and the physical making up the digital twin. And what that means is we can verify and take some of the trials and tests from the hardware back into the software system and verify that the work we're doing is good work.
Absolutely. So this is a great mix of simulating, like you say, in software and in hardware. How does this mix into the digital thread? Because you'll have like a design package, designing these blades, and then also you'll be manufacturing this as well. How does this link into digital thread?
So we're verifying. You can do as much work as you want in the simulated space, in the virtual space, but at some stage you've got to build something. Instead of building at this stage in our concept development, instead of building the whole aircraft, we wanted to do a small section of it just to verify that some of the work we were doing is along the right track, it's in the right ballpark, and we're getting the right efficiencies and things like that we're hoping to achieve from a flying aircraft.
Absolutely. When it comes to new products, I guess the more design work you do up front and the more testing you do up front saves you time when you start moving into production. Things get very costly to change.
Absolutely, yeah. It's all about the cost saving, the time saving, the collaboration, and the data from system to system to system. And ensuring we don't lose any of that data between those systems, the interoperability and the integrated nature of that thread.
Absolutely. And why is it important that research centres like you can do these kinds of projects without, I guess, the pressures of a commercial enterprise?
So we haven't got a production line at the AMRC, but we have got a broad range of capability, right from design. We've got composites, so we can do the aerostructures. We've got casting, we've got AM, metallic additive manufacturing, subtractive, integrated assembly and automation. We've got that broad kind of capability across the manufacturing life cycle, so we can really use that as a test bed, underpinned by the digital thread. And we've not got the worries of a production facility. So engineers and companies can come into us, they can work with us, and they can de-risk and test some of these things out.
Absolutely. It's almost like you're kind of 8 companies in the supply chain together. I mean, you can actually test those boundaries that you would have otherwise between departments, between the companies, trying to share information about this really complex product.
Yeah, absolutely. And you touch on a really interesting point there in terms of supply chains. So whilst we're working with some of the big OEMs in this space, it's really important that we're working with smaller businesses as well. And that's partly what MACH has been about for us. Less around the business development, but more around talking about the digital thread, socializing it, and help some of the smaller businesses in the supply chain understand what it means for them.
Yeah, absolutely. I know AMRC obviously work very closely with big OEMs and also the industrial partners like Siemens we're going to be talking to in just a little bit. SMEs, how important are they to the UK engineering market?
Huge. It can't be understated. SMEs make up about 99% of the market in the UK. So ensuring that these types of technologies are easily accessible for SMEs is absolutely critical. And we encourage SMEs to come and talk to the AMRC, the HVMC, and come on that journey with us.
Absolutely. There's still one day left here at MACH. If you're interested in the AMRC project here, this UAV, how the digital thread can help you as an SME, because you guys are some of the most important people in the market. Come down to the AMRC stand tomorrow. We're here in Hall 6. So we're going to thank you very much, Ben. I'm going to take the microphone off you. You wanted a handshake there? I'll give you a handshake as well. There you go. Thank you, Ben. So we're going to be talking to Rob Poynter now, who's the head of aerospace. Is that right? Head of aerospace at Siemens?
Head of Aerospace UK for Siemens Digital Industries. Yes.
Absolutely. This is an aerospace project, isn't it?
Absolutely, yeah. And a really exciting one. It's really relevant to many of our customers at the moment, and it's absolutely a fantastic opportunity to kind of develop the digital thread to really show industry the art of the possible in a safe space.
Yeah, a safe space meaning that these people can work on problems that otherwise a commercial enterprise are going to be under too much pressure to try and work on, and the result is something obviously beautiful but also really functional as well. What is the application to industry?
So the application here and the creation of this digital thread is to enable us to explore concepts like model-based systems engineering, to really kind of flush out what the issues with that might be and how industry can adopt those technologies without risk. So as you say, operationally the demands are too high inside the factories to be able to explore this digital thread, but in the spaces such as the AMRC, we can really kind of work with industry and our specialists internally to develop this technology and really enable adoption.
Yeah, and especially in aerospace and defense, I guess working practices are so heavily turned into a procedurized, I guess if you could say that word, and it'd be really hard to move away and try a different approach, even if it might save 90% on carbon emissions, 90% on lead times, on cycle times, on design times as well. How would you recommend approaching, trying to change working practices for these companies where everything is so procedurized?
So it's a great point. Often a product will be tied to a specific manufacturing methodology. And as you say, moving away from that is not an easy thing to do. What we're advocating with the creation of this digital thread is demonstrating how the technology can add that value, demonstrating how you can take out cost, you can reduce lead time without risk. And the approach we're taking with the AMRC is to use the Siemens tool set to enable that.
Yeah, absolutely, perfect. And what I find also fascinating, from an aerospace point of view, the technology that develops in aerospace, it trickles down eventually to SMEs.
Yeah, absolutely, and the SMEs are as much a part of the digital thread as the big primes and industry. And what we're trying to enable as a part of this project is connectivity between the manufacturing function, the engineering function, both domestically and across the supply chain. Because in doing that, you enable config control, you enable the right information to be consumed at the right time, in the right place in the supply chain.
Yeah, perfect. There's one more point here, which is it's very important, it's very close to a lot of people's hearts, it's sustainability and trying to produce things that will have less impact on the world while still being able to have the products that we have. And do you think there's an importance between collaboration between industrial partners and research centers to try and explore options in there that, the businesses can't do themselves?
Absolutely a good point. Again, ethically, we have a responsibility to develop the technology that enables the recording of carbon impact and the recording of those sustainability metrics. What we're doing with the AMRC is again, developing that technology and using their skills to make it as easy as possible to record those sustainability metrics. The technology throughout the supply chain, because of course it's not just a domestic factory that impacts the carbon footprint of a product, it's the whole of the supply chain. So linking up those data sets and being able to surface it at the end of the manufacturing process in a digital passport is really essential.
So if you've done like a mechanical engineering degree and did life cycle analysis, you know how hard it is to find out what the impact of anything is that you do.
Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I'm going to take the microphone off again. We're going to move on to, thank you, Rob. We're going to move on to talking to Rab Scott, who's Director of Innovation at AMRC. Is that right, Rab?
Sort of.
Sort of, okay.
I'm actually Director of Industrial Digitalization. Okay. So everything digital comes under me.
Comes under you, and that's why we're in front of actually an example of industrial collaboration with Siemens. So Rob was from Siemens and the AMRC. Could you tell us a little bit about the project, but also why is it important to work with industrial partners?
So the project itself is really key to one of our strategic activities at the moment. That's around sustainability. So what we've done here is we've looked at the automation of the disassembly of products, not the assembly of products, because that's what normally people want to.
We want to make things.
How do we make things? How do we put them together? What we've got here is when something has gone wrong, when it's at the end of life, how can we actually recover value from the product itself? So can we automate the disassembly using the CAD that was used to actually assemble it? So what we're doing is we're extending that digital thread even
all the way
further.
To the end of the life cycle of the
end
product.
of life or the beginning of second life, because it might be that we can take it apart and reuse it in other areas.
Absolutely, it's fascinating. You don't normally see a disassembled Siemens drive on a table, do you?
There's value in that though.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
This is really what we've got to understand. We've got to understand that circularity, the life cycle, sustainability, it's absolutely key to us. But to do that, we've got to work with the industrial partners that make the components, that maybe return the components because it's failed, or I don't like using the word failed, the component might have come to its end of life. So how can we recover that value? How can we recover that value in terms of minerals, in terms of work, all of that sort of stuff? We've got to work with industrial partners to understand what their needs and wants are, what their challenges are, what their pain points are, because that's what the MRC is about.
Yeah.
It's about trying to break down those barriers, reduce those pain points, improve sustainability, improve, I suppose, productivity as well. Key drivers for UK manufacturing.
Absolutely, and it's fantastic that industrial partners can work with you and also work with companies that they have commercial pressures. And those companies cannot maybe do things like this. Instead, you can help bring technology to a better, I've got to say the word readiness level, because I know you guys use that quite a lot, the AMRC, meaning just it's more commercially viable. They can make projects like this much closer to being actually used in production, which is where it has a big impact on the world.
Well, it's got to have that impact. If it's not used in industry, then where's the value? But that's what the AMRC is about that translational space where we can also de-risk companies adopting this technology. Come and see it, come and try it before you buy it. But also then really just understand the cost of implementation, the risks of implementation, but most importantly, the value of implementation.
Absolutely, the value of implementation is huge. I mean, this is some fantastic research, but if someone doesn't pick it up eventually, you put a huge amount of effort in that needs to get used somewhere.
It does, and that's where the impact really comes from, because when it hits the shop floor, when it starts creating value for UK manufacturing, that's when our job is almost done.
Yeah, absolutely. So thank you so much, Rab, for explaining the importance of industrial collaboration research centres. You guys need to maybe check out the AMRC if you're around the South Yorkshire area. There's also other parts of AMRC. There's AMRC Wales as well.
We've got an AMRC in North Wales, in AMRC Cymru, over in Broughton, and then also up at Samlesbury on the Samlesbury Enterprise Zone up in the northwest.
Brilliant. Thank you very much, Rab. And that's also open not just to big manufacturers, but to SMEs as well. As Ben said, SMEs are a hugely important part of our industrial landscape here in the UK and also around the world. I'm now going to talk to Chris Iverson from ForgeRow. And also, if you guys have got any questions, get those questions in on our LinkedIn page or on our YouTube. I think we've got a question now actually coming in from John White, founder of Prospect Hire. Thank you very much for the comment, John. He said the likes of AMRC are crucial to future tech transitions within UK manufacturing and I think also globally manufacturing as well because they're working with companies around the world. Perfect. So, Chris, I'll give you a microphone.
Thank you, Ron.
Hello, welcome to the stream.
Thank you.
Thank you for agreeing to come and talk to us.
Yeah.
So, Chris, could you please introduce yourself to our audience? Who are you and who do you represent?
Yeah, so my name's Chris Iverson. I'm co-founder and CEO of ForgeRow Manufacturing Analytics, and we're actually a spin-out of the AMRC. So we set the AMRC up back in 2020 with a vision, and that vision was to maximise manufacturing productivity all around the world. So yeah, it's gone really well. We've grown the business really well. We've kind of what we do is we offer manufacturers plug-and-play hardware that they can clip onto their machines and help them to understand what is the productivity of each of their machines and what can they do to improve that productivity.
Brilliant. And as an AMRC spin-out, I mean, you kind of embedded in the amazing technology and developments and innovation that they've been doing for, I guess, best part of 15, 20 years now, the AMRC. How did that spin-out happen? How do they support you in terms of building a completely new commercial enterprise?
Yeah, so AMRC, obviously, they're a gold mine for technology. There's loads of technology in the AMRC, as everybody knows. What we did is we worked really closely, myself and my co-founder, Robin, we worked really closely on a core piece of technology, and we built it up, and we wrapped the commercial model around it. AMRC gave us the time, and they gave us some funding to get ourselves off the ground. We got some really good mentors, and then I guess COVID happened in 2020, and then we decided to take the leap and go for it.
Yeah, absolutely. Congratulations on the spin out and congratulations on the growth as well.
Cheers. Thank you.
What I find amazing is we've talked to Rob Pointer from Siemens. So obviously Siemens, massive software OEM and controls and lots of different technologies. Yep. But I'd imagine that spin outs from the AMRC, they could become the next Siemens almost in 20, 30, 40 years from now. You're already doing industrial partnership style collaborations with the AMRC even though you're only 4 years old.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so we worked with the AMRC on a number of occasions. Notably, one of the projects that we've done was called the Next Gen project. Next Gen project was the AMRC really wanted to accelerate digital adoption into manufacturers who are local to the AMRC in the Sheffield City region and beyond. And so we got about a dozen manufacturers. We worked really closely with the AMRC to accelerate ForgeRow into there. And the project was really, really successful.
Yeah, Sheffield's a good place to be a manufacturer. I mean, both the
Absolutely.
Sheffield boys, we do know that,
yeah, completely.
Fortunately. So it's fantastic that we're seeing these spin-outs coming out from the AMRC. And I think if you've got any more comments, if you would like to let our audience know something, a little bit more about ForgeRow, if you'd like to let them know what you guys do.
Also, I mean, we've grown quickly. We've grown from 2 customers 3 and a bit years ago to over 120 now. And customers are loving what we do. It's great to be here at MACH as well. Because obviously, you get to see existing customers and you get to speak to potential new customers. And if you want to get more productive and reduce the energy usage of all your machinery, then get in touch.
Absolutely. So if they want to get in touch, they want to see ForgeRow, we've got one more day at MACH tomorrow. So if you get yourself down, maybe you finish early on a Friday afternoon, and you're in around the NEC, around Birmingham, what stand can they visit for ForgeRow?
Oh, I don't know.
You don't know the stand? Okay, well, it's somewhere over there. We're in Hall 6. You're in Hall 17, I think.
17.
It's Hall 17.
Yeah.
You'll find them online.
ForgeRow Manufacturing Analytics. Cheers, Rowan.
Thank you, Chris. I appreciate it. My God, I should have figured out what your stand number was, shouldn't I? Okay, no worries. Perfect. So that's most of the stream done here at the AMRC. I've got to find Rab now, who's going to be telling us some closing comments about what it's like for the AMRC to come to MACH every year. Why is it important, Rab, to come to MACH and explain to people about what you do?
So, Rowan, if you just took a look around, that's why we come to MACH.
I'm looking.
Absolutely. This is why we come to MACH, to see the latest technology, to see how it's being used, to understand the pain points that industry have, because that drives our strategy, that drives our innovation. And really, it's key to be here, to be seen to be here, to really just drive productivity for UK manufacturing. Latest and greatest, what's not to like about coming to MACH?
Absolutely, what's not to like, apart from the voiceovers, the announcers when you're trying to do some videos. The amount of times I have to pause because someone's parked their car in the wrong place. But yeah, it's like you say, there are SMEs here, there's OEMs. This is a great place for people from every level of UK manufacturing, the whole industrial landscape to come together. And I say it's as well as a technical coming together, it's also a social coming together to understand what other people's needs are, everyone else, what people's people want to do in the industry.
One of our roles as the AMRC and as the High Value Manufacturing Catapult is really to convene the conversations. And the MACH is a brilliant place to start those conversations. Whether it is come and tell us about your latest technology, come and tell us about your latest challenge. We might be able to solve it for you, whether you're, as you say, an SME or a large company. You know, there's an awful lot of the High Value Manufacturing Catapult at MACH. We've got presence in a number of the knowledge zones. We've got the tooling zone over in, I think it's Hall 7, so that we can actually provide support to people on the ground. You know, it's not just about showing off what the future holds, it's about solving people's problems that they have today.
Brilliant. So it's the AMRC driving innovation, solving problems not just for big OEMs, but for small SMEs just like you who are watching this today. Facilitating conversations, starting a MACH, but you'll be facilitating for the next 2 years. You've always got events running. People can come and find out more about technology and innovation in the industry.
Absolutely. amrc.co.uk. Come and have a look.
Perfect. Thank you for watching the live stream. This is the AMRC stand here at MACH 2024.